everyone, Charlene Bauer, Ladies Offroad Network, and yay! Cheers, high five, knuckles, elbows. I don't know what you do, but happy 5-year anniversary, Ladies Offroad Network. I am so proud of you, of us, of the big picture, of the industry, of everybody for allowing Ladies Offroad Network to be what it is today and to increase the opportunities, the livelihood, the entertainment value, the number of laughs, the number of just pure moments of gratitude and tears, and there's just so many stories that we have for the 5 years that we've been doing Ladies Offroad Network. But the one story not many people know is exactly how Ladies Offroad Network started. And so that's the story I wanted to tell you tonight. It's not a common one. It was, there's no business plan to Ladies Offroad Network. Let me just start off right there and be super blunt and super straight with you on this. But it's a story that is a heartfelt story. At least I feel it is. So I appreciate everybody that's coming in right now. Hello, hello. If you have a friend that hasn't been a part of Ladies Offroad Network, tag them right now and say, this is what I wanted you to watch, please, or ping them or something. But this is the story of how Ladies Offroad Network started. I'm on my fluffy couch. I'm like, no better place to be than on your fluffy couch. I have a couple things behind me. You can see I got some pictures of the ladies that have surrounded me in awesomeness throughout the different challenges. I'll talk about those in a second. Let me turn this dinging off in your ear. Sorry. And then off we go. All right, so here's the story. Bauer Motorsports Media. So I'm Charlene Bauer. Hi, it's nice to meet you. Bauer Motorsports Media started 12 years ago. I had worked, my very first job out of high school was changing dirt bike tires in a motorcycle shop. Yes, that's what I did when I was 17, 18, right out of high school. And they thought, well, here's a girl, she's got to go through the same vetting process as the guys do, so off she goes to the back to change motorcycle tires. Well, what they didn't know is my dad had been having me change motorcycle tires for years, but on the front lawn with a bucket, right? Now I go into the back of this shop and it has tooling and it has all this awesomeness and ways that you can change a tire, and I'm like, boom, this is so much easier. Yep, can't get rid of me that fast. But I did realize very quickly that I was not set out to change tires the rest of my life. And so I made my way up into the front. So that started my retail management career. As I went through college and did everything, I became a part of major motorcycle shops, one of the biggest motorcycle shops in the country. I was their parts manager for multiple years. I ran a motorcycle shop up in the Bay Area, all kinds of stuff. So 10 years of retail management. And anybody that has done retail management in the past, throw a heart, throw a face of you understand how challenging retail is, especially when you're in management, because people don't want to show up to work, and so then guess who has to work, right? And you're like, let me out of retail. So luckily I had been in a great position working in this retail management for 10 years in the motorcycle industry, and tons of stories there, but that's not tonight's story. Just letting you understand the background. And so I took 6 months off and I hooked up my truck to my trailer, the same trailer that you guys see if you've been here, the one with the black stripe on it. It was there, and I hooked it up and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go crisscross the country and figure out what I want to do next in life. Because you know how it is when you're so ingrained in your business, you're so ingrained in what you're doing, you're working 12, 14 hours for somebody else, you don't have a chance to even dream about what you want to do next, much less what do you want to do next. So that's what I did. So I jumped in the truck and the trailer, and for 6 months, off I went. Well, I have two ATC 70s, which if you know what they are, they're rad. And if you've seen mine, you know they're raddest. And so I have those, and the magazine wanted to do an article on them. I'm like, heck yeah, you just tell me when and where you want me to meet you, and I'll be there. I got nothing else going on. So they decided on a weekday that they wanted to meet me out at Pismo Beach, which is Oceano Dunes, which is under attack right now, and why we're so engaged in land use at all moments. So we went out there, and I asked the age-old question, so how do you work for the magazines? And as people ask me that, and I look at them, I'm like, oh, you don't want to do that, bad plan. Well, they pretty much told me the same thing, and I'm like, okay, but why? Like, why? I don't get it. Why? Oh, I get it now. They didn't make a whole lot of money. So they said, hey, Charlene, grab yourself a camera and meet us up in Oregon in a couple weeks, and we'd be happy to teach you how to use it. And then maybe you can figure that question out on your own. I'm like, well, alrighty then. So back in the day when laptops were like this big and Wi-Fi cards, I was cool, man. I was cool. I had a Wi-Fi card. It was like this big. And I was on the beach, and I ordered myself a camera, and I sent it to my parents' house, and I picked it up on my way up to Oregon, and off I went. And it was a tool to me. I didn't know. I didn't need a camera. It wasn't my thing. So I handed these people the box and said, hey guys, look what I got. And it's like them opening Jeep parts at Christmas, right? They're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Check out this new camera. And I'm like, sweet. Can you show me how to use it? So I learned about the magazine business, and I did eventually get a job in the magazine industry, not as an editor, but as an ad salesperson. And so I worked for two magazines, Sand Addiction Magazine and Side by Side Action Magazine, and I was at the very beginning of when side-by-sides were coming out. So UTV market had just begun. The Rhino 450 was like the cream of the crop. And if you guys are familiar with side-by-sides, you know what I'm talking about. That is not the cream of the crop anymore. And so there was a small handful of us that were right there at the very beginning of the side-by-side scene and really dictating how it would become later. So I got through all that. The sand is where my heart is. So Sand Addiction Magazine was very easy. I was writing articles. I was selling ads. We were having a great time. And then 2008 happened. So the crash of 2008. And whoosh, there it went. Well, I was the ad salesperson, so guess what? I could see the money was starting to not come in anymore, and the business was going to have to do something different. I had a choice. I could either stay with the magazine and who knows what, because I wasn't in charge, or I go on and do my own thing. So at that point I decided, well, I'm going to go on and do my own thing, which was also scary. So I quit my job and gave 2-week notice, and you know how that goes. The next day, that day, they're like, oh, see you later. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I left, and I drove up to my parents' house, and I remember sitting on my parents' floor. I had no idea really how to use Photoshop or how to use anything. And I built this graphic for Bauer Motorsports Media. Came up with a name. And everybody had been telling me I needed to start my own business. Everybody telling me I needed to do this, and I'm like, well, I don't know. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I did something that I thought was really intelligent. I looked at the market and said, with all the magazines closing, with everything happening, we are going to take over the internet. So the internet had not exploded yet. It was not what it is today. It was very brand new. Nobody was really using it as the ultimate tool that it has become now. And so I'm like, well, here's what I know. I know how much it costs magazines to, magazines are saying to a person or to a company, hey, just get us your stuff and we'll get your information in. And they weren't doing it because people like, quote me, a media person would cost them a ton of money to do it. I'm like, oh, we can totally cut this out. I'm like, I can write press releases, take pictures, and later on, I learned how to do tons of videos. If you go to our Bauer Media YouTube channel, I have over 800 videos on there. Most all are self-produced. That's not including all these lives now that we've done from Ladies Offroad Network. And it was just an incredible opportunity. So Bauer Media is a PR and marketing firm for racers, companies, and events. I work with the top of the top, cream of the crop, off-road racers. Very, very satisfying. Like, these guys are working hard every single day to be spectacular. I work with companies, some of the top companies, some of which you've seen many of the brands around, and some you have no idea I'm the one in the background that was doing all the work. And then event series, I traveled around the country and was at event series that made sure that their promotion and their pictures and their videos got out as well. So I kind of put myself in the middle of this little triangle, and it worked out really good. And Bauer Media was a blast. But, ... here comes the next chapter. But ... I also felt like I'm not going anywhere, and the money wasn't making sense, and the travel was out of control, and I was trying to, like, I don't know, contain and do and be and all these kinds of things. And I just got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And maybe you've been there in your business, maybe you've been there in your personal life, maybe you've been there in a lot of different elements, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, ugh, I gotta do something different. I can't. To today, I still have not written many press releases. I can count them on less than 2 hands. Like, I was burnt out. I was done. I was over it. Anybody been there before? Throw a heart, right? Like, you know what that feels like. You understand what that's all about. And so I just kind of kept figuring out what was next and how could I be successful and what's of interest and what's happening and all the rest of it. And I just couldn't do it. And so I decided one day, it's time to let go of Bauer Media. It's time to call it quits and go get a real job. Yep, me with a real job. You can put the laughy face on there if you want. But it was just time. Like, you put your solid effort in, you put everything into it, and there's a lot of elements to that, but that's where we were at. So I had a lot of contracts, and I wasn't willing to make it into a bad scene. I'm not that person. I always leave on a good note. But I also had decided that if I was ever to close my business, that I was out. Like, I was out of the off-road industry, going on to go do something else. And that's where we were at. Like, I was just done. So I chose to start shutting down contracts. And at the same time, I really took that internal moment to figure out why. What's wrong here? Why do I hate my job? You guys, you need to, like, find out the why, right? Teach the why. Think of the why. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, you know, the worst part about this is I'm doing it for everybody else. And I'm working 18 hours a day, and I'm not getting anything back out of it. Like, there's no external, internal reward. Like, you're constantly pounding. Never are you taking the opportunity to give yourself a moment, especially if you're self-employed. You have to give yourself a moment, right? If you are employed by somebody else, hopefully they're taking the time to say that you're doing a great job. But when you're self-employed, you don't do that. You don't ever take that moment to say, heck yeah, high five, good job, girl, and celebrate the times that you've done. And so at that point, I'm like, well, you know, you got a lot of friends here. You got a lot of stuff going on. Say yes. You've had a lot of opportunities, and you say no because you are the one that's going out and saying, nope, I have to work. I got to get this. I got to get this person taken care of. I got to get this person taken care of. I got to do this. I got to do that. And instead, I was saying no to everything that would help satisfy me internally, right? Don't say no. Remember to say yes. And so that became, quote, the yes year. And I love that it's become a movie here in the last couple of years. But I did that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to say yes. When opportunities come around, I'm going to see what they are. As long as they're realistic, I'm going to say yes. If they're a little bit outside my comfort zone, I'm going to say yes. And we're going to start seeing how this goes down. So that year, I had a yes year. And I also had a moment in time where I'm like, we got to shut this down and be successful about it and come in to the next year with a real job and everything else. So here's how that year went. And this is where Ladies Offroad Network comes to life. So the year started out in January, February-ish, and BFG contacted me because they had a event that we had gone to the year before, and we had done really well. We had tied for first. In my eyes, we won, but we tied for first, okay? And so they wanted to do that same event this year, and I'm like, sure, that'll be great. Now this is in 2016. And I'm like, sure, that'll be great. I'd love to do that. And they're like, great. And so then they said, well, you know, we also have this other event. It's called 36 Hours You Worry, and we need to field a team. Would that be something that you're interested in? I'm like, well, tell me a little bit about it. And they're like, well, it's in North Carolina, and you have to do winching exercises, like a whole bunch of recovery stuff. We don't know much about it. It's the first year they've ever done it. So, I don't know, would that be something you're interested in? And I'm like, yeah, yes it is. Probably should have done some more research, but I said yes. And then we were having that conversation. I'm like, come on, Charlene, pull it together, girl. Ask for what you want. And the year before, in November, Emily Miller from Rebel Rally had come to me before all of our season of contracts was going on and said, hey Charlene, I'm going to do this new event. It's all women's called, what is it? The Rebel Rally, right? And she's like, I really want you to be a part of it. And I'm like, absolutely, Emily. I'd be more than happy to do your media for you, to be a part of it, to help you out in any way I can and support you in that. And she's like, no. I want you to participate in it. I'm like, no. That's not me. And she's like, yes, Charlene, that's you. And I'm like, no, not me, but I'd be more than happy to do your pictures for you and to do everything else for you, right? I'm not the racer. I'm the one that makes the racer awesome in the front lights. I'm the one behind the racer. I'm not the racer. So now fast forward to this conversation in February, and I'm like, you know, can we just add a third of it to this opportunity where Rebel Rally is at the end of the year? We'll kind of put something together, and here we'll have this third event, and it'll be a great time. You can just kind of help me cover some of the expenses. It'd be great. And they're like, okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, they said okay. Oh my gosh, here we go. And so off we went. Now I had 3 major events to do in 2016. On top of me, don't forget, we're shutting the business down. So the income was going like this, and the expenses were going like that as we decided to live life, as we'll call it. Yeah, that's what was happening. Because who knew when I would have vacation time again? Go to corporate world, like you gotta ask for time off apparently. So I'm like, well, now I need somebody to be my co-driver, somebody that's with me. And the weekend right after King of the Hammers in 2016 was the very first time for something else. 2016 was a memorable year for women in the off-road environment at 100%. Many of you don't realize this. So in 2016, the weekend after King of the Hammers, Emily Miller, who else? You got it. Nina Barlow. And who else? Charlene Bauer. The 3 of us, Emily kind of pulled it together and said, hey, why don't we all get together and take a bunch of girls out to Glamis and let's go hang out. I want to teach everybody kind of how we're going to do this whole Rebel Rally thing. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And so off we went to Glamis. Now all these girls were camping in tents. I show up in my 30-foot trailer like, boom, here it is. If you guys need anything, let me know. They're like, no, we're just going to camp in our tents. I'm like, okay, you do you. I'm going to be over here in my trailer. And so some of these girls had never driven off-road before, and here we are out there. And I, being in the sand, I've never driven a Jeep in the sand. I'd never driven something heavy like that. Now, you put me on a dirt bike in the sand and boom, I will take you out. Like, I'm faster than anybody. Well, it used to be. But in a big heavy Jeep, like, I had my anticipation moments too. I'm like, there is no way. This is unsafe. This is crazy. So I got over it in the first day of being able to drive around, thanks to Nina and having a Jeep available for me to try. And off we went, and out there we were. So, major moment. There's a video of this weekend. That video got us into a little bit of trouble because honestly, it was just a word of mouth situation with all these girls. But the video got seen by my friends that run the Glamis BLM, who then called Emily that said, hey, what's up with this event that you just had? And Emily called me, and I'm like, oh, let me make a fast phone call. Hold on, please. And so I called him up. I'm like, hey, so about that video, yep, you know how good I am at making nothing look like something? That's one of those moments. This was not a legitimate event. We were out there having a good time, and it just looks like it. And so off we went. Who knew what would happen in now the next 5 years? Right? Emily's Rebel Rally is sold out for this year. Nina Barlow is helping all kinds of women. And now we have Ladies Offroad Network, which I'll still get to the point of how it started in a minute. We're not there yet. But now Ladies Offroad Network is 5 years old with thousands and thousands of women that have had an opportunity to learn and be successful through our programs. All right, so we go home. We're not done with that weekend yet. I looked at Nina and I'm like, Nina, you're aggressive. I'm aggressive. Let's go kick butt. Let's go kick some boy butt. Let me be more specific. At 36 hours, you worry. What do you think? And she looked at her calendar and she's like, dang it, I don't have the weekend available. I'm like, dang it, that's awful. I'm like, okay, well, I'll figure it out. And on the drive from Glamis back to Phoenix, I had about 5 hours of me in the truck by myself thinking. And if you've ever been around me or you've ever known me to talk about this, you don't let me drive for 5 hours by myself thinking. This is when bad plans get created. And so I came up with this plan and I said, all right, I'm going to give this plan a shot. And so I called BFG on Monday morning and said, listen, okay, those 3 events, the way I see it is I need 3 different types of people to help be my co-driver. They all got to have different skill sets, right? Tool sets. That's what we need. And so they're like, okay, that sounds right. And I'm like, yeah. So the one person I was really hoping would work with me on 36 Hours Yuri, her schedule's full. I was really thinking about it, and I feel like if I feel like I need adventure or I need an outlet, there's many other women out there that feel the exact same way. So why can't we put together a challenge, a contest, a something? Well, when you go and look at words, you can never use the word contest. So we've created our first ever Ladies Offroad Challenge. And that challenge, 2.5 weeks later from this phone call to BFG, we released in Moab in 2016. The picture I posted on Facebook today is the picture of the very first ever group gathering. Now, I can't even call it Ladies Offroad Network because it wasn't in existence. This was just a group of ladies getting together in Moab with a dangling of a carrot of, I have something that's coming up that you guys will want to be a part of and to be my co-driver. They didn't even know it was a co-driver position. They didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, I just have something really cool to tell everybody, and everybody just needs to be there because I needed those 2.5 weeks to put the whole program together. And knock on wood, I had a program because we released that on a video. I was scared to death. I didn't do these lives every week. I didn't do any of this. I was scared to death. 1, talking about what we were about ready to do. 2, saying, all right, we're going to set up this program, and we got 3 massive events, and I need a co-driver, by the way. And oh, by the way, I don't care if we win. It's not about winning. It's about doing the best we can. You guys have heard me say that a lot. Do the best you can. And so we did. So we released it. And it was a short window of time because we had to get through this process of this group, you know, the big group, and then we got to narrow it down, and then we had our top 10 weekends. And then we had the events coming up right after that, and they all started like in June. This was like in March. Knock on wood, I had a plan, because in 2.5 weeks, 91 ladies from around the country entered to be my co-driver. And it was not easy to enter. Like, you had to write this essay, you had to submit pictures. Anybody that's in the challenge right now, you just completed your first deadline today for challenge 1, which is doing exactly that. And it is not easy, but the girls did it. And I wanted it hard to enter. And the reason why, literally in my mind, I needed 10 girls to register so that I could find 3 that had enough vacation time to hang out with me. That was basically the reality. I'm like, whatever, we'll make it work. We'll just find 3 girls that have enough time to hang out and we'll have a great time. 91 women from around the country entered. Yes, exactly. Throw some hearts for that, because that was an incredible moment. Everybody in my team looked at each other and were like, what just happened? Girls don't like each other. Why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. Just being real, right? You know me, I'm just going to be real. And so we went through the process, and we had 91 women that were amazing, like amazing women, every single one of them, unique and fun. And wow, there's many of you, yes, there's many of you that are on right now that were part of that 91. Say that you were that. Like, be proud of that moment. And they came out of the woodwork from everywhere. And all of a sudden, we had these huge stories. And Bauer Power Hour was alive at the time. And so we had these huge stories of all these awesome women. And then we narrowed it down. And then we narrowed it down. And then we had our first top 10 weekend. And in our first top 10 weekend, this is the picture of the first ever top 10 weekends. Oh my gosh, there was a lot of crazy going on. And so these women, try to get past some of the light, sorry. But these women, top 10, made it to the final round, which meant that they came to Arizona to meet me, and so we could figure out, okay, who does have that talent? Who does have that uniqueness? But in my mind, the top 10 weekend is always the win. You will hear me say this time and time and time again. The top 10 weekend is always the win, because you get to go do rad things. Like, we were shooting because 36 Hours You Worry required some shooting, and we went and saw Emily Miller in the middle of the desert, and we got the van stuck. I think we're past the statute of limitations for the van rental to know we got the van stuck. And so we had to get that undone in the middle of the desert. We went and saw Nina, and Nina taught people about recovery gear and everything so we could get ready for 36 Hours You Worry. Like, and then, well, kayaking, because you gotta go do something fun. This was the first ever top 10 weekend in 2016. I had them all in a white van. We talked about the white van, right? But we didn't see the white van. Nope, there's no picture of the white van on that one. In that white van, I realized something was really unique, and like, wow, these girls are on the gas, and everybody gets along with each other. And we were all camped out in my house, and we had 2 bathrooms in the house, and there was cots and sleeping bags and air mattresses everywhere. Like, it was a different house, a much bigger office space. Like, everybody was in the house. It was highly entertainment value. There was like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? And we did it. We had the first top 10 weekend. And from there, 3 ladies went on to compete with me in different events. So we ended up going and doing trail emissions instead of the other BFG event because it got canceled. So we went and did 10 days in Baja. Challenging, of course, right? It became an ABC special, if you ever want to go look at it. And then we went and did 36 Hours of You Worry, which was ridiculous. We almost died in so many different ways. So that video, you should go watch. Yes, We are delirious in the middle of the night, and you will hear that deliriousness throughout the video, and it's hysterical, by the way. But if you've ever like thought through how crazy it is to do something for 36 hours in North Carolina in August, we took it to the test. And we came out second in the pro class. Yes. Just a couple girls trying the hardest that they can. And then we had the Rebelle Rally. So we were prepping for the Rebelle Rally, we were training for the Rebelle Rally, we were doing all of this kind of stuff, and we were trying to make it all work and happen. And the Rebelle Rally, wow. Like, again, talk about just trying the best you can. But I put the prep work in. We put the prep work in. I took us to took us to Emily's training sessions. We went out in the Jeep and tried things out and got to learn the Jeep. Frankie was a borrowed Jeep. It wasn't mine. The green Jeep was borrowed. It belonged to BFG. Yeah, I didn't even own it at the time. How awesome is that? And so we did it. And so those were the events that were coming up. That's what was happening. So we got through 36 hours of Uori. We were final prepping for Rebelle Rally. Understand where we're at in the year now. Rebelle Rally's in October. So all my contracts are dying out. Like, series are finishing. Everything's finishing. Income is going like this, faster and faster. And I am starting to prep for finding a real job. Like, okay, it's time to get going on finding a real job. And at that point in time, something happened. I started to tell people, hey, I'm not going to renew contracts. I'm not going to do this anymore. And one of those calls was to Barbara Rainey. And some of you have had the pleasure of meeting Barbara. She's an amazing woman and a great friend and mentor as well. And so I called her, and she was always one of those top people that says, hey, yeah, call Charlene. She can do the work for you. She can help you out, whatever the project was, whatever was going on. And so I called her up and I said, hey, listen, I just need to let you know that I'm not renewing any contracts. I'm not starting any contracts new. Once Rebelle Rally is over, I'm pretty much done, and I'm moving on to somewhere else. And she's like, oh, Charlene, I think you just need to breathe for a moment. And I'm like, I've been breathing for a full year through this whole plan, and I'm out of here. No, we're good. And she's like, Charlene, you just need to breathe for a moment. How about for 2 weeks? And I'm like, I don't need to breathe anymore. She's like, just breathe. I'm like, ay. All right, whatever. Just don't tell anybody that I'm doing anything, because I'm not. So that happens. You want to know why? Because 2 weeks later, she called me up, and she's like, hey, Charlene, how you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I just thought you were calling to see if I was breathing. And she's like, yeah, kinda. But really, I'm calling on behalf of the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame, and you've been nominated in the industry class as a rising star. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And she said no. And I'm like, did you know this 2 weeks ago? And she said, I did. And you can't blame her for doing her job. Like, that's her job. That was an amazing moment in time where she's like, just breathe for 2 more weeks, because I can't tell you what's going on for 2 more weeks. Right? And so that happens. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I call my parents. Mom and dad are just like 100% in the game with me all the time. Just like mom says, the Costco shopping, I just saw that. And so mom and dad are right there. And I called them and I said, okay, do you want the good news or the bad news? And my mom's like, tell us the good news. I'm like, great. So I told them about being nominated for this amazing award through the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. And she's like, you're kidding? That's awesome. This is so great. You know, like, the pride of what we have been doing for the last 7 years was really coming out. 6 years at that point. And then my dad said, well, what's the bad news? I said, I can't quit. This whole year has been about me quitting. What am I supposed to do? If I get this award, am I going to go up there and say, well, here's my letter of resignation? Might as well at least give it to the whole industry at the right time and say, thanks for believing in me, but peace out. I can't do this anymore. What do you do? That's a moment. So we had some discussions. A couple weeks later, in October, we won the Rebel Rally. That was a huge moment. Trying the best we can. That's all we ever try. And in November, I was blessed, thankful, and proud that the industry chose me as being the rising star in the industry category of the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. In fact, here's the RAD award that was given that day. That's piston and oil being super excited as they rustle around. And so that changed everything. So in June of 2016, right after we had those 10 girls in the van with me, I did make a decision. I'm like, you know what? These girls are awesome. We really need to do something with that. And so we created something that was called GYM. It was Project Sunflower. You guys have seen the Project Sunflower post from last week? Yeah, that was Project Sunflower. And so it came about to be GYM Off-Road. Guiding, educating, motivating. It was just a give back project for me. It was just something where I'm like, hey, let's do something for the ladies. This is a really cool deal. Let's give it a name. Let's give it a title. Let's see what we can do with it. It can be my side job once I get a real job. It'll just be something that just kind of hangs out and is there for everybody. No. In September, October, November, in that time frame, I committed to 100%. I said we will, for 1 year, commit to Ladies Offroad Network at 100%. I did a name change from GYM Offroad, because what is GYM Offroad? What does that mean? To realizing that Ladies Offroad Network needed to be the name. Just like Ladies Offroad Challenge. Like, hey, let's just take it from Challenge to Network. And so we did, and the real name was born. And that's why you see that change all the time. So it's Ladies Offroad Challenge, Ladies Offroad Convention, Ladies Offroad Network. They all change, but it's all consistent. And so I gave it 1 year. That's it. I'm not lying. You guys wanted the true story. Here's the true story. So I gave you all 1 year to figure out if this was real or not. Like, do these girls really want this attention? Do they really want to learn about off-roading? Do they really want to get into the mix of this? Or is this just going to be some other Facebook group and, you know, something where people just kind of get together online and they chit-chat? Like, what is the real deal going on here? And so then I got into conversations with partners because they were very interested in the female marketplace, because the female marketplace was actually pretty new. The 4-door JK is what brought us all together. I will give the 4-door JK that comment and that compliment. And so all these women started coming out, but they didn't know how, and they didn't have necessarily a safe space to learn, and they didn't necessarily have that safe space to go. And so I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's figure it out. Well, then I started talking to the industry, and the industry's asking me all these demographic questions. I'm like, well, I don't really know, and I don't really know, and I don't really know. Sure, I'm a woman in the industry, but I've always been a part of the minority that's excelled in the man's world. And I'm like, I don't know all these answers. And so I'm going to go out and find out all these answers. So year 1 of Ladies Offroad Network was 100% demographic survey. I went all over the country. I kept doing fun things. We had no Bauer Media income. I kept a couple clients. I did keep a couple clients. When I realized what was going on, I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Let me just let's keep going here. And so we kept that rolling, kept Bauer Media going in order to pay for the beginning of Ladies Offroad Network. I had this dream of having a convention, having something where people could get together. And then I had this thing where I need to overcome every woman's objection. I don't like to camp. Gotcha. I don't necessarily drive the vehicle. I don't feel comfortable going on a trail or anywhere else without my husband or my significant other who owns the vehicle. All these different things. Then guess what? Girls, I can put on a heck of an event where you learn in a contained environment. And so we had our first ever Ladies Offroad convention in 2017. This will be our 5th year this August, where we're in a hotel and we're eating food that other people cook, and you can take as many showers as you want, and you don't have kids yelling at you. You don't have husbands stressing you out that you have their vehicle. You have nothing. You flew in, you came to a room with a bunch of like-minded women, and off we go. And so we had our first ever convention in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about nerve-wracking? I sold my Mustang, my Mach 1 Mustang, in order to make that baby go. That was nerve-wracking. I cried. But it was my investment into making this thing happen. And it was also that point in time where I'm like, you know what? This is for real. This is going to go. This is going to work. These girls are for real. And I swear, when we put these girls all into a room in Colorado Springs and saw that everybody that came had that same momentum, that same thought process, that same heart, that same I want to learn, girls, you guys are all the same in those elements. And that is why when you come to a Ladies Offroad Network event, you're not scared of the cliques, or I hope you're not. You shouldn't be scared of the cliques. You shouldn't be scared of that prissy girl, or the one that you always talk about that, oh, so annoying. We're all girls that are frustrated with other girls, which is why we all get along. It's a great thing. It's an amazing thing. We don't mind dirt under our fingernails. We like to have fun. We're smart, we're intelligent, we're educated, and we want to learn more. And that's who is attracted to Ladies Offroad Network. That's where Ladies Offroad Network has excelled. Throughout the years, I've come up with a lot of bad plans, as we call them, and we come up with different things, like our garage takeover events, and our challenge has continued to change, as now you've seen that we're not doing it for an event, but we're doing 11 challenges over 10 weeks. We have a resolution where girls, you know, as this whole deal continued to evolve and continued to be what it is, it's not just about off-roading. Off-roading is what we end up seeing as our core. Off-roading is what brings us all together. But guess what? Once you have that house, you have all the people. And inside, all those people want to support each other. They need a support system. They need that positive support system. So over the last few years, couple of years, especially in the last 2 years, I've made it more and more and more engaging to be a friend. Be a friend to other people, right? So that you can support them as much as you need that support. And that can be as important as your vehicle and, hey, how do I do this build and stuff? But what people don't really understand until you really get engaged with Ladies Offroad Network is it's about the friendship. It's about the kids. It's about the family life. It's about the business. It's about surviving a pandemic. Oh my gosh. Talk about like a year. I don't even know what to say about the last year. And so I've just continued to listen to you. We have a leadership team of 30 ladies that get on a call once a month and listen to what you have to say. I put my ideas out there. They push back and say, great plan, Charlene, or wow, we need to take it to the next level a couple notches. And I love it. I love every second of it. I'm just the one hosting the party. You guys heard that a lot in the very beginning. I haven't said it as much lately because literally you've been at my house. I've been hosting the party this last year. But that's what Ladies Offroad Network was always built to be. It was built for you to be successful. It was built for me to try and get as many programs as possible so that each person has a niche, each person has a need, each person has a something, right? Every single one of you is at a different level of off-roading. There is at no point in time a moment where I have said, you're the same, you're the same, you're the same, let's all put you in the same category. No, we haven't. Now, you've put yourself in those categories. We've run some 101 classes so that you feel more comfortable. But I'm doing that same type of stuff with some of the other classes as well because you can. Because you've put yourself in that category. And so we've just built all these programs and built all these camping trips and built all these trips. Oh, did I happen to mention in 2019, I decided that it'd be super intelligent to drive around the country. And so I bought a 40-foot diesel pusher that's amazing, called the Beeve, who kept us safe, smart, and intelligent for, about 5 months, if you combined it all together, about 5-6 months of time, where we did 75 stops around the country at 4-wheel parts to educate you in your local environment. I got so much heat in the beginning of the 16 and 17, come 18, people are like, well, you never come to us, everything's everywhere else. And I'm like, I'm going to events, I can't be everywhere. And so in 2018, I called everybody out. I'm like, fine. You want me to come to you? I'm coming to you. Month of August. Stinks here in Arizona. Let me tell you, it's like the face of the sun. I'm out of here. I'm coming to you. And so I took 5 weeks and went around the country. I thought I was crazy then. What did we do? Like 17 stops or something? 17, 18 stops? Yeah. And then in 2019, life changed. And because of that, I'm like, let's hit the road. And so we did 75 stops around the country. Some of those, Esther can attest, she's actually one of them, pulled a great friend out of that particular class. Many of you guys met each other at your classes. Many people have localized friends now because of those classes. That makes me happy. It's not just about learning the tools. It's about finding your people. It's about being able to go out on weekend trips. I can't go out with you every weekend, dang it. It's not that I don't want to. Trust in me. I'm the first one that loves to be everywhere at the same time, but I can't. So my goal is giving you guys now the opportunity to meet those people, go on runs. Oh my gosh, my heart was so full 2 weeks ago when I saw, 5 of you girls all together out on a trip out east, people traveling from all over the place. And you want to know, every single one of them reached out to me with a different story of something that happened on that trip. That not only were they super happy that they got to know each other through Ladies Offroad Network, but something that happened on that trip that really gave them the sense of accomplishment because they had taken what they had learned and applied it during that time. Oh my gosh. I mean, the pride overflows, ladies. You know how that is if you're rich? If you're rich in great experiences, what does money matter? It's so cool. It's so cool. So that's Ladies Offroad Network in a nutshell. It was not built on purpose. It was built by mistake. It was built because I was giving up. I was quitting. And the off-road industry said, no, you're not. And so I had to stop. I had to look around. And I've probably done one of the best things I've ever done in my career. Are we done yet? No, ladies. No, we're not. As you know, I have lots of bad plans because I've been driving by myself a lot lately. And we're going to do more cool stuff, and we're going to organize, and we're going to reorganize, and we're going to be, and we're going to be, and we're going to be, because we're not going to let a pandemic stop us. We're not going to get anything else to stop us. And this is how I do not want to ever have to go get a real job. As long as I can keep you girls satisfied, which holy guacamole has its moments in time. But we all do it to ourselves. So we're trying the best we can. We did not start off with a business strategy. It didn't start off with a business plan. That's not this plan. That's not this deal. We've made things up along the way. I'm the first one, and you'll hear me say it for multiple times out of the gate. I've made things up. Well, let's try this. Well, let's try this. Well, let's try this. Well, I don't know. That didn't work, did it? Okay, off the list for next time. Well, let's try this. Everybody wants to do this. Okay, cool. Let me put that together. 3 people sign up. Okay, cool. We're not doing that again. Let's not try that again. That didn't work out. People were talking more than they were interested. And so we continue to make that happen. You guys run the party. You want to play the DJ? Good. Fine. You guys want to karaoke? Fine. You guys want to just dance? Fine. You guys want a reggae? Fine. I'm the one here hosting the party. I'm the one making it happen and trying the best I can. But it's also you are taking the lead. You are the ones that are telling me what you want to do. 2 ways. 1, by strictly communicating it to me, like words, and 2, by signing up. If you sign up for the opportunities, that tells me, boom, here they are. They want to play. They want to do their thing. If you're not signing up for opportunities, I can't help you. Does that make sense? Like, I can only put things out as much as I possibly can, and then we just go like this a lot, and people come. So yes, 2020 was the year of the trail ride. This is actually hysterical because if you know me, you know we will never, ever, ever, ever go on trail rides as part of Ladies Offroad Network. Yeah, what do we do now? We love those trails, don't we? Yeah, those Jeep tires are doing really good out there, aren't they, ladies? I love it. Last year, girls have been wanting for years, shirts. Come on, Charlene, get us some Ladies Offroad Network gear. Get us some gear. Finally, last year we did that. I was able to make it into a way in which it works for us to do Ladies Offroad Network gear. If you go to our store right now, Bauer Media Store, now you understand the background to why everything is Bauer Media, why my email is still Charlene at Bauer Media. Bauer Media Store has the Ladies Offroad Network gear in it. This year, you might actually get stickers. I know I just said that. Because if you go to the store, you're going to see that they're there. You're also going to see that they're in there for $1,200. So do not buy them, ladies. But we're gearing up for something that's very exciting and the next layer. Okay, every day I'm trying to up us in another way. Every day I'm trying to up us in another way. And I can't be more thankful to the leadership team that participates all the time, to the group of people that aren't scared of me and will call and say, hey Charlene, this is what's going on, or hey, can we work through this, etc., etc. I can't be more thankful for my parents and my brother and everybody that has been supporting me in that very localized group. We have also a Wednesday group that comes in and is very localized. Like, I am not the only one that is making Ladies Offroad Network work. You are. You make Ladies Offroad Network work. And that I'm thankful for. And that is why we're here at the end of 5 years, starting into our 6th year. That's why the 6th annual Ladies Offroad Challenge is on the gas. Your stories, your pictures, your everything that you guys have been sending in is amazing. You guys inspire me. I'm the lucky one. I'm the one that gets to meet every single one of you and gets to read every single one of your stories. Like, I am the lucky one. August 5th annual convention. Yes, even during a pandemic, we're still counting the non-lawn con. We called it non-lawn con because we went camping that weekend. I canceled the convention as it's known in a hotel-based environment, and we went camping. You've never seen me panic so much as taking people on a trail. But we had a great time. The girls did a great job. And now this year we're going back to our regular convention style, and it will be here in Phoenix, which is fine because it's all inside. But we're doing that. We're doing that. And we're doing everything possible. The pandemic took us from being face-to-face to online. And you want to talk about hard? That was hard for everybody. That was hard for you at home, getting used to doing your job online. Much less, I heard this over and over, and I don't blame you for a half a second. I don't want to be online, Charlene. After a full day of being online, the last thing I want to do, nothing against you, but the last thing I want to do is listen to one more person talk to me on my computer or on my phone or anything else. I get you. I get you. So hopefully we're just past that. And next week, I'm going to talk to the leadership group about how can we go back to the in-person get-togethers. So look for that coming back. At the beginning of the pandemic, we were doing 30 networking events a month across the country. That's proud moment for all of you. Oh, I ran a report the other day. Are you ready for this? In 5 years, and this is actually not even true, in 3 years, because we've used our wild apricot management system now for 3 years. Every year, you guys, I'm trying to make us better and better and better. In 3 years, how many events do you think we've done? Actually, I want you guys to put in a number. In 3 years, in our wild apricot management system, how many events do you think is in there? Bonnie, no cheating. Anybody that has access, no cheating. I think it's only Bonnie that has access, but no cheating if you have cheating. If I told you the number, don't write it in. You can still guess, but don't go straight to it. What's the number? All right. I can hardly wait to see some of these numbers go by. Anyways, it's a ridiculous amount. Now, this is in 3 years. I think the next number is going to be up more, right? But it's awesome. It's insane. It's awesome. They're out there for you. We're here for you. I don't know. Like, what do we do? Oh, look at those numbers. Bonnie's like way off the charts. I love it. 386 events. 386 is what we had done in 3 years. So let's just round it up. Let's just make that an average of 400 events. Probably more than that. But if you take 386 and you divide it by 5, what do you have? You have 52. We've done one event a week for the last 5 years on average. That's insane. That's not smart. That's a little crazy. Thank you, Marissa, for the blonde hair, right? You guys have the opportunity to be a part of those. You guys have the opportunity to rule the roost in what you want to do. Some are great, some aren't great, some survive, some get canceled. They're all based on you, and that's the exciting part. So, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions? That's Ladies Offroad Network in a nutshell. That's where we're at today. What's happening tomorrow? Well, we have all kinds of good stuff going on here. I have an August 1st deadline for a couple big projects. So hopefully everybody that comes to the convention gets the results of those projects, which is exciting. I'm always moving forward for you guys the most I can. The most I can, I'm moving forward for you. But I also, as Cindy just said, I also need you guys to commit. So we have our core group. There's no doubt, I know who you are. But how do we get the new ladies to join us in and come and learn and come and be a part? And every single person is welcome. Every person is welcome. And that's the heart that I have for women in off-roading. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you want to learn, you're a part of this. And you don't have to have a Jeep. It's Toyotas, it's side-by-sides, it's dirt bikes. It's not just Jeep girls. Just those Jeep girls are loud. Woo! Are they loud? You know who you are. But if you're a Toyota girl, you know who you are. There's plenty of you out there. There's plenty of side-by-side girls here. There's plenty of everybody. Off-road is off-road to me. And that's the fun part about Ladies Offroad Network as well. So we'll celebrate our 5 years. Hopefully everybody with Taco Tuesday somewhere, right? Like tacos, chips, and salsa. That's kind of the best. That's the best. And then we go from there. We carry forward. We didn't let a pandemic stop us. I didn't let wanting to leave and quit stop me. Trust me, we definitely have our days. Awesome. Any questions, or what are you guys thinking? I'm seeing the Jeep Girl comments. I got you all on here. I can actually read as I'm doing this. So we have now done Live at 5. It's June 1st for 2.5 years, every single Tuesday. I haven't forgotten one. We had one where I had to go later because I was up in a national park, and that was a whole long deal. But then that started Cooking with Charlene, which is a whole different scene. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So this 2.5 years of going live at 5 every single Tuesday. Sometimes they're blah blah blah. They're just like catching you up on stuff. Sometimes they're motivational. Sometimes they are informative. Sometimes I'm teaching something. They've all kind of had their theme to them. We try different things here and there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're like, all right, gotta go. Glad to see y'all. I was here, you were here. Great. Awesome. Sounds good. But tonight was a big one. I just wanted, not many people have heard the full story of Ladies Offroad Network. This will be now posted on the website forever and ever, so people can understand the background to it. I think it's important. I think people need to understand. So in 2016, I won the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame Industry Rising Star Award. In 2018, I was honored again to be honored. They changed their trophies, but into being the 2018 Impact Award for Advocate, for advocating for women in the off-road industry. And I'm very proud of both of those, and the amount of momentum that we have been able to give women into the industry. So much of what I do isn't anything you guys ever see. And I think I'll leave with that portion, is there's a whole different category to the business that you guys never see. You guys see the business, you guys see the event side, you see me talking to you side, you see me trying to get you to do things side, you see the challenge side, you see all of that. But what you don't see is the day-to-day of me working in the industry, me helping, making sure that women are supported in different categories, and hopefully one-on-one with you as you're trying to be successful at what you have going on. There's many days that I'm like, what did I get done today? And I'm like, I was on the phone all day. And they were very important conversations with either industry people or yourself. And that matters to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Huge hearts to everybody. I do appreciate you every day. And here's to another great year, or a great 5 years, or a great 25 years, because all you lifetime members, you're stuck with me for a lifetime regardless. Like, yeah. All right. I appreciate you. And on that note, everybody say your goodbyes, say your thank yous, and I want to make sure that you guys remember you are the network. You're the community. You're the group making it together. We got the WhatsApp going on, so everybody can chit-chatting. Hopefully everybody here is chit-chatting and that you guys are engaging. And if you're not, how do we get you there? Go to ladiesoffroadnetwork.com/membership. Go to ladiesoffroadnetwork.com/about. My contact information is there. Reach out to me, and let's help you be a part of this amazingness. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great Taco Tuesday.